something that I think is relatable to most of us. If you're living in Singapore, you probably know that a majority of Singaporeans actually live in HDB flats. So according to the latest data from the Department of Statistics Singapore, in 2019, 78.6% of Singaporeans actually live in HDB flats. So a very common question I get from people is, should I buy a BTO or a resale HDB? So today I'll be doing a little comparison between these two, and hopefully it will help you in your decision making. So let's do it.
Firstly, for a BTO, as it is brand new, it has the longest lease possible, which is the full 99 years. Did you know that usage of CPF funds is dependent on the age of the property? As a BTO is brand new, the CPF withdrawal limit will not be affected. Secondly, the waiting time for a BTO ranges from 3 to 4 years from the time you select a unit to the collection of keys. Thirdly, the location of flats are limited to the sales launch, so it may or may not be the area you prefer. You will not be able to see the physical unit, but you can see a mock-up of the building and also a show unit at the HDB hub. Unit selection is based on your queue number, so you better pray for a good one. Next, there are greater chances of appreciation. Why is that so? You're buying the property at a subsidized price, and if you were to sell the flat after it has reached its 5 years minimum occupation period, it will be the youngest flat in the resale market. Naturally, newer things have a higher demand and thus is able to achieve a better price compared to older units in the area. Let me use an analogy of the iPhone. When Apple first launched the iPhone XS in 2018, it was the most expensive iPhone ever. The 64GB model was retailing at 1,649 Sing dollars. Now, almost 1.5 years later, the same model is retailing at 1,069 Sing dollars. As time passes and more newer models are launched, prices of older models will gradually drop. So this is similar to a leasehold property. Structure determines value. As its structure deteriorates over time, so does its value. Lastly, BTOs are bare units with the option to add on sanitary fittings and flooring. So you still need to do some renovations, such as the kitchen, lightings, cabinets, etc. Now let's move on to resale HDBs. Firstly, resale flats have a shorter lease depending on the age of the flat when you buy it, and this could affect the CPF withdrawal limit. Secondly, the timeline for a resale HDB is shorter. Depending on the submission period and whether there's any extension of stay, you'll be able to collect your keys within 3.5 to 6.5 months from the time you option a unit. Thirdly, there are more choices and you have the freedom to decide on the location you prefer. You'll be able to see the actual unit, what the unit is facing, who are your neighbours, basically have a feel of the environment. Fourthly, prices of older flats may be stagnant and even drop as the building ages. As I have mentioned earlier, structure determines value. And lastly, resale flats are usually already fitted with the necessary fittings, so depending on its condition, it may or may not require any renovations.
It may be challenging to find a house that checks every single one of your boxes, so it's always important to know what your priorities are. So what I'd suggest is to make a list of your priorities from the most important to the least important, and this may come in handy when you're having a hard time making a decision. Buying a house is an emotional thing for most people because that's where you'll be starting a family, where you'll be raising your kids, where you'll be making new memories. But the last thing you should do when buying a house is to be emotional, because that is what will cost you. So I'll share more on that in the upcoming weeks, so just look out for that. And that's all for today. I hope you learned a little something, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye!